On the profile interview segment this week, I'll be speaking with the President General of the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, Prince Adewale Adeyanju. He also doubles up as the Deputy President of the Nigerian Labour Congress. He brings us up to speed on some of the challenges workers have faced in the maritime sector, while also making comments on the suspended industrial action of the Nigerian Labour Congress. It's good to have you on the program.
Good to have me.
A lot of activities are ongoing in the labor sector, but for your own industry, the most topical issue in the maritime sector right now is the Ports and Abor Bill, which is being introduced by the 10th Assembly. Recently, the Maritime Workers Union, led by you, actually held a press conference rejecting the resurrection of the Ports and Abor Bill. Can you bring us up to speed why this is important?
Well, I want to thank you for having me on your program. I think we in the maritime sector, we felt that bill has been eliminated in the 9th Assembly. But somebody somewhere else is trying to wake it up. And we felt it's a slap on the union, it's a slap on the whole stakeholders in the maritime sector. And we are looking at the disadvantage of that bill that we pointed out in the 9th Assembly, when we cried out loud and told the whole world that that bill has a lot of implications that's going to affect the workers in maritime sector. So when we heard that they are trying to introduce the bill again, that's why we found it very difficult that there's need for us to cry again and tell the world that that bill should not be attended to.
For example, experts in the maritime sector are concerned, especially workers, that this bill might actually mean job loss. Can you throw more light on this? Does this mean that if this bill is implemented and made into an act, that workers will lose their jobs?
That is why we are entertaining fear of unknown, fear of where the workers will lose their job. Because we have learned from the past, when the port was to be concessioning, the then Minister of Transport, the BPE, said nobody will lose their job. At the end of the day, what happened? Close to 30,000 workers in Nigerian Port Authority lost their job. Talk of other branches, the dock workers, they were being paid stipends. They paid them 200,000 naira. Somebody that put in 10 to 20 years in service. What they did was to pay everybody the same figure, the same amount. So we're not looking at what we have passed through in the new dispensation now, when the port have been concessioning, and everybody believe in that new arrangement. The workers' hope have been be on the silver side with the terminal operators. But somebody somewhere else now is going to bring in another fear in the mind of the workers in the maritime sector. And that's why we are crying that no, once beaten, twice shy, because we know what happened to us in 2006, and we don't want this thing to repeat itself. And that's why you see us trying to tell the government that we cannot accept that bill to have the light of the day.
With your experience as a labor leader in the maritime sector, can you share what is tenable in other climes, be it developed or underdeveloped? How many countries actually have their integral parts of the economy being outsourced to private individuals?
Well, to some of us and to you too, my sister that have traveled wide, you know what it means. We did say the port should not be privatized. There are a lot of dividends that we can. Our ports now have been privatized. We have started seeing the dividend of privatizing the port, where all of us now have aligned ourselves with the port now. If you travel to another country, yes, most of their ports too are being privatized. There are advantages and disadvantages of privatizing the port. Maybe the government that's supposed to manage the port, you are unable to manage it properly, and that's why they give it out to private hand to manage for efficiency. But we are afraid of job loss. That is our concern on this bill, where everybody have learned from the past what their take home was not given to them. Somebody that put in like dock workers. We have four arms of branches of dock workers. Dock workers, shipping, seafarers, and NPA. And when they are about paying the dock worker, they pay them 200,000 then. So if you go to another advanced country, they didn't do that. They were able to pay everybody better wages, better package. So we cannot go back to the olden day style of say, okay, fine, that bill is coming again. Let us pay the workers the way they paid them before. But we thank God that things have changed from 2006 till date. The dock workers then have no condition of service. And I believe that's why the government said, okay, I can pay you whatever I want. And they pay them because they are cashiers. But the way it is now, the dock workers are no longer cashiers. They are permanent employee under an employers. Gainfully employed, unlike before, you can pick anybody on the road as a dock worker. But since 2006, we have seen the dividend of privatizing the port as a terminal operators.
Talking about casualization of workers, like you said, it's not just dock workers, we have the shipping sector and the likes. What would be your view about casualization of workers in the country generally?
It's a death sentence. There are benefits that I'm supposed to have as a permanent worker. As a casual, you don't have it. And that's why the union have been crying loud and clear that there's need for abolishment of casualization in the port operations, where outsourcing of job a permanent workers can do. Part of that job, you give it out to vendors to manage it on your behalf, just for you to minimize costs and savings. So we see the advantage and disadvantage. Disadvantage is that there's nothing like terminal benefits accrued to somebody that's a cashier. So we are not happy with a worker being a cashier. Because if you spend 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, if he's going out of the service tomorrow, what they are going to pay him nothing. So it is not in our dictionary now because the union, we have fought for it. We have said no enough of casualization in the port operation. But that thing is rampant in shipping. The shipping, they outsource part of their job to vendors. But I think we'll be fighting vigorously to make sure that that type of thing will not.
Is there an update on the collective bargaining agreements that you've been pursuing with the shipping sector?
Yes, I think we are about having an headway because what we are saying is that there should be a minimum entry in shipping because in shipping they do have minimum entry, and some of the big companies like Max Line or Rain, they have a standard. They have continuum of service for their workers. But we are talking of minimum standard that if anybody is coming in as a new worker, as a clerk or whatever, there must be a minimum entry like we have in the dock workers branch. We have minimum standard for dock workers. We have NGIC for seafarers. And we are saying, no, let us have it in shipping so that whoever is coming as a new worker, he will actually know where he belongs to. Not that you employ me today, you put me on a casual list for 10 good years. And that's why the union is crying that a lot of damages is taking place in shipping. But we thank God that I think the Shippers Council have waded into this matter through the Minister of Transport, the then Minister of Transport, who set up committee. So we're about to have a minimum standard in shipping.
What will be your expectation from the National Assembly, the 10th Assembly to be precise? We know that the 8th Assembly discarded and disregarded the Port and Abor Bill. They now are introducing it. What more do you think, or what role do you think the National Assembly can actually play to ensure that the maritime sector is being enhanced?
I think what we tend to do is to make sure we align with them by way of meeting with them, let them know what the union have in mind. They cannot just somebody smuggle the bill and say, well, let's leave it. No, we are saying the union and the assembly, we are going to meet with them and let them know the implications because they may not know. They may not know, but somebody bring it in and say, it's going to work.
What more can they do? Is there any law that you think that they can put in place, or is there any contribution they can put in place to ensure that the maritime sector is more robust than what it is now?
What law are they passing? This is every day they are changing their law. What law?
Maybe like ensuring that the roads are better,
Where
dredging
is
of
the
the
road?
seaport.
Where is the road? The former Ninth Assembly, look at the road to Apapa, where we lost close to how many investors to another neighboring country. They are not looking at the road. They are not looking at the port infrastructure. They are looking at how to smuggle in a bad bill, Abor bill. Is that what we are talking about? How do you want the port to be efficient when the road leading to the port are not motorable? Go to Tinker Island. They have turned the Tinker Island to be a workshop, our road leading to the port. You see where the motorcyclists, or what they call them, the Baba Jebu, Lotto people, they have taken all over the road. So the assembly, let them come out. You can't sit there in Abuja. Let them come and do port assessment. Let them go around and see what is going on the road leading to the port. You spend close to 3 hours from my 2 to the port. So people are dying day out as a result of stress they are passing through. And investors have run away from the country to another country. So if they want to pass a law that's going to bring the port to be more efficient, the union will key into it, we support them.
Another question I would like to ask you would be that of the challenge that's, the strike by NLC during the week. We all know the reason why the NLC decided to embark on this industrial action. And we definitely know that the government will actually intervene. But generally, what would be your observation as regards the way politicians treat Nigerian workers or union leaders? Is there any clarification or any other words of advocacy you would like to have at this point in time?
Well, I want to thank you for this question. You know what happened in Imo State. And the impression I want to correct is about personalizing what happened in Imo State. That matter, to me, is not the matter that involves Adewale. It's a matter that Adewale inherited. President inherited it. And when they say government is a continuity or whatever, I don't think he has made a mistake of using Imo State as part of his being a leader that believes the welfare of the workers supposed to be his utmost responsibilities. The states that have not paid pensions for workers for 20 months or 2 years or 3 years, the state that refuses to pay gratuity for the retirees, the states that have no regard for fundamental human rights of human beings of that place, and we were embarrassed with what they have done to our president. People should not tribalize it, that whether the labor movement were partisan or whatever. We are not. It's not about somebody is in politics or whatever. We are purely unionists. And our primary responsibility as a union is to protect the welfare of the workers. So we are saying what they have done to Adewale should not be a precedent for other states where attack of union leaders would be their instrument of anarchy against the labor leaders in the labor movement. And that's why you see that we are saying, no, we are not going to accept that. But we expected the government to have come out with a statement discrediting what happened to number one citizen duly elected by workers. We are not talking about the president. We are talking about the seat that belongs to the workers of this country. It has never happened in the labor movement. We have the past leaders, the likes of Baba Sumanu, Adam Musomele, our leaders, many of them, even Ayuba. It has never happened where a governor will use the instrument of his office to attack a labor leader. Adewale is from that state. He should be given his due respect. Forget about sentiment that everybody are talking about, his politics. He has got himself in politics. We are not politics. All of us are involved in politics. As a unionist, you are a politician, one way or the other. And politics starts from your home. While you are the president, your wife is your general secretary. All your children are your executive officers. So are we not running politics? Marriage is about politics. So people should not bring sentiment of Ajero is campaigning for one party. What party? He should tell us the party. So to us, as an organized labor, we kick against it. That is wrong. We don't want the politicians to be using their power against the leaders of the union. So that's why we say.
Would you want to add that it's not just only the president that was beaten?
Well,
workers in your union were beaten up and
yes,
injured.
two of my executives that represented Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria, they were all beaten to stupor. Even including you that you are with me now, we all know what happened. We heard the story. If God is on your side, you won't sit down with me here. It is wrong. It is so barbaric. It's an absurd. We don't accept that kind of illegality. We don't have permanent governor. It's not in our constitution in this country, but we have former governor. That governor will leave one day. Another governor will emerge. What legacy is still laying down in Imo State? Somebody asking for the rights of the workers. What's stopping in arranging a meeting between the union and sit down with them? Look at other governors. They can't do that. They can't do that. So, and that is why the union is saying, no, we cannot accept that. The government should call him to order. Because the moment we allow this thing to go like that, other states will continue using the same union against the union. And that's why we say, no, enough is enough.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And that's all we can take on today's edition of the program. Join us next week for a fresh edition of the show. I am Sharon Ijasan. Thanks for watching, and remember that labor creates wealth.